The day I have been waiting for has finally arrived, and HBO released the official trailer for The Gilded Age Season 2, along with new images. The timing was perfect because I had just finished watching the first season for the second time in preparation for the new episodes. Without further ado, let's do a breakdown to see what will happen in Season 2. The trailer begins as carriages move on the famous 61st Street in New York that houses the main characters of the series. Carrie Coon's impressive voice accompanies the visuals, and we see her speaking to someone at a dinner table about how New York is where society puts itself on display. As the trailer moves on from Bertha's gorgeous pink gown, her next-door neighbors walk inside a church. This is where I should tell you the second season will start on Easter morning of 1883. Bertha's speech about New York continues in the following seconds. She mentions leaders meeting each other, and her husband, George, is shown meeting a man who is yet unknown. She talks about the children courting each other, and Gladys and Marian appear at a societal event in a good mood. Oscar nods at Gladys, which means he is still interested in the young lady, although Gladys proved last season that she wouldn't be easily persuaded. Then, Bertha continues talking about the central theme of the entire show. The old guard tries to keep the new people away, but nothing stays the same forever, so change is a must. The trailer doesn't play with symbolism. We see Mrs. Astor when Bertha says, "the old guard." Bertha looks marvelous in a green gown and tiara. From the looks of it, she is talking to Mrs. Astor, which could only mean their ideological clash continues in full force. Peggy and her mom are inside a carriage. I wonder if they are outside New York, looking for Peggy's son, or already back in New York. The rest of the trailer provides clues on that. A newly constructed Brooklyn Bridge also appears in the trailer, as a young man, who I think is Larry, gazes upon it. Nothing stays the same indeed, but not everyone is accepting of change as much as Bertha. Agnes still wants to remain in the comfort of the old days. I only wish for Agnes and Ada more scenes outside that house. They were there almost for the entire first season. The scene where Agnes rushed into the Russell house was one of the highlights of Season 1, as well as her appearance at the ball of the season final. So, more Agnes and Ada outside, please. The next scene in the trailer shows Bertha and Mr. McAllister. They will continue to do their best to integrate Bertha into the New York society. But it won't be Mr. McAllister who is doing the work. Bertha has a great plan. After being rejected a box at the Academy of Music, she will support a new opera house. Of course, Bertha is referring to the Metropolitan Opera House. Yet, as Mr. McAllister makes it clear in the trailer, the old money people, Mrs. Astor as the leading member, are determined to ensure the new opera house fails. But for how long can Mr. McAllister continue playing both sides? Bertha says he needs to pick a team, and she is right. Will he go with the old guard, or will he be hooked on Bertha's unending and extravagant lifestyle? Bertha's tenacity will persevere no matter whose side Mr. McAllister decides to be on. Even Mrs. Astor admits what an opponent Bertha is. Agnes is full of it, of course. What's the news there? The trailer also includes good storylines, such as Peggy wanting to return to 61st Street. This should mean her son is either not alive or does not come with Peggy to New York. Otherwise, Peggy wouldn't want to be a burden to the Van Ryn household with the child beside her. Another good storyline is Ada having a new love interest. He is Reverend Matthew Fort, the new rector of the church attended by all the highest new society. It appears Ada is well in love and courting the man. She wonders what Agnes will think, but we already know what she will think, don't we? We also see another new character who has taken an interest in Marian. I personally wait for the slow romance between Larry and Marian. I might have to wait for 10 seasons. Even though Marian doesn't show interest in Larry, she doesn't seem to like this new man either. But Agnes does and thinks he is a suitable candidate for Marian. We're halfway into the trailer, and the exciting scenes have just started. It appears Peggy continues with her reporting career and will cover the opening of a new school in the South. Dorothy is worried, as always, but she is adamant. It also seems George's hands will be full this season as his workers are protesting their poor conditions. In one scene, they walk with torches in their hands. In another, they chant together for their rights. Mr. Clay, who works for George, says things are worse than he thought. A new character talks about the problems of George's workers, who can barely put food on their table. Then it appears George will not only be the target of group attacks but also personal ones, as a man tries to approach his carriage and various others surround him as he walks into a building. In the next scene, he complains about the situation and defends himself by mentioning his excellent work for American society. But does that give you the right to abuse your workers, George? The trailer moves on to other storylines. We see Bertha and Larry arriving somewhere mysterious. Marian looks over from a window quite happily, I must say, But she's not that happy in the following scene as she cries about not wanting to be put in a cage. Agnes then gives an ultimatum, reminding Marian that she lives there at her aunt's pleasure. I'm guessing Marian does not want to marry the guy Agnes proposes, which angers the old lady. Then we see various scenes without any context. There is another party at the Russell house. Mr. McAllister mentions a severe problem. Mr. Church looks at Watson with a worrisome expression. Here is the most interesting part of the trailer. Bertha and George are fighting. She complains about covering everyone's back but not being supported in return. She even cries as she moves away from her husband. Is the power couple going through relationship problems? According to an interview with Carrie Coon, this will be the case for season 2. As much as I don't like hearing this, I'm also intrigued to see the depth of their love and support for each other. There are dances in the remaining parts of the trailer. Agnes looks in the mirror with the Easter morning outfit. Then, an intimate scene shows up pretty quickly. The man appears to be Larry, and the woman is a widow called Susan Blaine, a woman who lives in Newport and hires Larry as an architect. It seems they won't just have a professional relationship, and this further proves Marian and Larry won't happen as soon as I imagined. One final scene I want to talk about is this one. I have seen many people discussing who the woman in the scene is, but for me, it's clear as day. It's Bertha, and it cannot be anyone else. George is anything but disloyal. That's all I can say about this trailer. I tried my best to break down every scene. The ones at the end didn't appear that much important to me. Share your views about the trailer in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe to next season for more videos like this. See you soon.